Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar organized by KTH Royal Institute of Technology. In today's webinar, we'll discuss about studies and life at KTH and Stockholm, Sweden. We'll also discuss the master's programs that we are offering and how you can apply for them in this coming autumn. So to help me do this, I have two guests with me, two master students here at KTH. So I'll let them introduce themselves. So Sara.
Hi, my name is Sara. I'm from Guatemala, and currently I just finalized my first year of my master's in interactive media technology at the School of EECS.
Great. Christos.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining. My name is Christos. I come from Greece, and I'm finishing up my second year in the machine learning masters, also at the School of EECS.
Great, thank you. And I'm Jairam. I work as a communications officer here at KTH. So during this webinar, you're also able to send in questions to us through the Q&A function here on Zoom. One of our colleagues will try to answer them, and we'll also try to take some of your questions towards the end of this webinar. Perhaps some of your question is answered in the duration of this webinar. Otherwise, yeah, we'll try to cover them at the end of the webinar. So let's get started. So as you might already know, KTH is located in Stockholm, Sweden. Sweden is one of the Scandinavian countries located in Northern Europe. In many rankings that you would see, Sweden would be ranked quite at the top when it comes to sustainability, gender equality. So these are something we are very proud of, and through our education here at KTH, we try to promote these aspects as well. We are a relatively small country in terms of population, only 10 million inhabitants, out of which 2 million live in the capital city, Stockholm. But in terms of area, Sweden is the third largest country in the EU. So, Christos, was the location a factor in you choosing KTH?
Yes, both because Stockholm has this entrepreneurial spirit, and also because of the nature of the open society and all of those things.
Okay, Sara, what about you?
Yeah, for me it was pretty similar, but also for its commitment to gender equality, especially being like a woman in the tech environment. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, now let's talk about KTH, which is Sweden's leading technical university. So here you can see an aerial view of our main campus, which is located quite close to the city center here in Stockholm. I'm actually sitting now in this building, which is also the president's office. So most of our students study here on the main campus, but then we also have 4 other campuses all in the Stockholm region. So for example, in the KTH Södertälje campus, we have collaborations with companies like Scania, AstraZeneca, in the Solna campus with the Medical University Karolinska, and in Kista campus with many companies which are in the ICT sector, the information communication technology sector. There are many student accommodations that are on campus. So many of our international students actually live on campus, but then some students also live outside the campus, but then get here with excellent public transport facilities that are available. I'm just curious, Sara, do you live on campus or do you stay off campus, and how do you get here?
I actually live off campus. I live in Lapis, that is like a student accommodation. And I normally go to KTH by using the bus and the metro, or sometimes just the metro, and I walk to the metro station. But it takes me like about 15 to 20 minutes.
Similar for you, Christos?
Yes, I am studying mainly at the main campus, and it's around 25 minutes by metro.
All right, great. Okay, moving on. Yesterday, we received some excellent news that KTH was ranked 73rd worldwide in the latest QS rankings. So we went up around 16 spots from the previous year. So we are very happy with the rankings, and we hope to climb even more in the coming years. In many of the subject areas, like electrical engineering, material science, mechanical engineering, etc., we are ranked top 50 in the world. So the rankings are important for many students, as I've heard. Like, was it important for you to make the decision to study here at KTH, Sara?
Yeah, that was one of the most important things that I look out for. And like for the type of education they were giving out and everything here at KTH.
Yeah. Similar for you, Christos?
Yeah. The ranking was a good indicator, and it made KTH stand out among European universities.
Great. I think in the latest rankings, we are 10th in the EU. So we're very proud of that. Moving on, KTH also puts a lot of importance on the Sustainable Development Goals that were developed by the United Nations. We ranked 42nd worldwide in the Times Higher Education Impact Rankings of 2022 for sustainable development. So these SDGs are very integrated into our education here at KTH as well. So if you look at the various programs that we offer, you see 2 or 3 of these SDGs connected to each program. How have you encountered these SDGs within your program, Christos?
For me, it's not that clean cut, but it's because machine learning can be applied in various sectors and help with sustainability. But it's always a concern. For example, when you're writing your thesis, you need to write about the societal impact of what you worked on and sustainability concerns that you might have.
Okay. Sara, you have any comments?
Yeah, I think in my case, it's also similar. You wouldn't think about like sustainable development when it comes to digital, but they encourage us to try to think about it whenever we're developing our projects.
Right. All right. Now let's have a look at the structure of education here in KTH and Sweden. So here, the bachelor's degree is for 3 years, which is usually taught in Swedish. And then you have the master's degree for 2 years. So that's where most of our international students come in, and they'll be joined by the Swedish students who have completed their bachelor's degree. So your classrooms can be quite mixed with a lot of Swedish students as well as international students. And then once you finish your master's degree, you can also pursue a PhD or doctoral degree if you wish to do so. And if you look within a master's program, most of our programs are offered for 2 years, where 3 semesters are dedicated for courses, and the last semester is for the degree project or the master thesis. And yeah, each semester itself is divided into 2 study periods. So I guess this might be something different compared to your home country. Sara, how was it for you?
Yeah, that was something like very surprising when I came here, because before I had all my courses in the full semester. They didn't divide it by period. But I think it's better to have it divided by period, because then you can focus really on each subject.
Great. Moving on. So here at KTH, we offer 60 master, actually a bit more than 60 master programs, and they're divided into different subject areas. And for convenience, we have divided them based on the 5 schools that offer them. In many of the programs that we will show you in the coming slides, perhaps you'll see the word joint written next to it. So what that means is these programs are offered in collaboration with other prominent universities, mostly within in Europe. So in these programs, you can study 1 year at KTH and 1 year at one of our partner universities. So yeah, now I'll go through these programs per school. So we'll start with the School of Architecture and Built Environment. So if you have a background in architecture or civil engineering, and even like transport related areas, you might find programs of interest here. So yeah, one of these programs, the Architecture, Lighting, Design, is a 1-year program, whereas all other programs are for 2 years. There are also very multidisciplinary programs which accept students from a wide variety of backgrounds, like sustainable technology or environmental engineering and so forth. And as I mentioned, this is one of our joint programs. So here in this program, you can study 1 year at KTH and 1 year at a partner university. The next subject area is electrical engineering and computer science. So this is the school which offers the most number of programs. I think both Sara and Christos have their programs listed here. I'm wondering, could you maybe give a quick summary of what your program deals with? Maybe Christos?
Yeah, so as the title suggests, it's mainly about machine learning. and all its applications. So the theory behind it, statistics, the mathematics, but also things like computer vision and natural language processing, deep neural networks. All those exciting things.
Yeah, all the buzzwords. And Sara?
Yeah, so my program is interactive media technology. There are different tracks that you can take, but mostly it's about how we interact with technology, with digital technologies themselves. It could be either like game design, user experience, or digital communications itself. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting program.
Right, thank you. Moving on to the next subject area, which is engineering sciences. So yeah, here you have programs in aerospace engineering, in mathematics, railway, vehicle engineering, and so forth. Yeah, here also see some of the joint programs that we offer. Yeah, so if you have a background in physics or mathematics or vehicle engineering, you might find a program of interest here. Moving on, the next subject area is chemistry, biotechnology, and health. So here you find programs related to chemical engineering, life sciences, polymer technology. So yeah, and here also you have a few of the joint programs that I mentioned earlier. And then the last subject area is industrial engineering and management. So here, students who have background in, say, mechanical engineering, material science, product design would find programs of interest. So I'll just keep the slide so that you can read through the list. And next, we can have a look at how it is to study at KTH, like what you can expect when you take a course within a program, which might be a bit different from what you have experienced in the past. So I know that courses can include many lectures, sometimes seminars, a lot of teamwork, lab work, and individual studies. So Sara, why don't we start with you? Like, how was it to study in your program? Was it quite different from what you were used to from your bachelor's?
It was a little bit of a different approach in that sense, because I studied graphic design before, but the thing is that we still managed to do a lot of teamwork, which is like super nice. And also I think what differed the most is that now I had laboratory work. Yeah. It's pretty nice because you get to use the technologies that you're learning now. Okay,
Christos, what about you?
Yeah, similar to Sara, I think the group projects and the lab work are a pretty distinctive feature, and also the fact that in many projects you get to pick your own subject, so to speak, so you can choose to study what you're mostly interested in, which I think is pretty cool.
Right. I've also heard that the communication between students and teachers is quite informal here. Was that different compared to how it was for your bachelor's, Christos?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it makes things so much smoother when it comes to your studying.
Yeah. Was that something you also felt, Sara?
Yeah, I think it's very nice because in that way you don't feel wrong in any sense. Like you can ask whatever you need, and it helps to your projects too.
Yeah, I understand. Moving on, I can mention that all fee-paying students and scholarship holders who study at KTH are guaranteed housing for the first year of their master's studies. And here we have also listed an average monthly budget that you can expect. Yeah, so maybe Sara, could you tell us, is this a good estimate of a monthly budget?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty accurate estimate. Of course, it's going to vary depending on the leisure activities that you want to do, but I think it's a nice budget to have.
Christos, do you agree?
Yeah, and it can vary based on your personal preferences or the rent that you pay, but it's more or less correct.
All right, thank you. Yeah, now I know that both of you had sent in a few pictures showcasing your life at KTH so far. So why don't we go through that? I think we can start with Sara's slides.
Yeah, so this is most of my studies at KTH. As you can see, like in the first picture, it was like one of the first days for THS, the international. They did like group activity, and they gave us like cannon ruler and hot chocolate, which was pretty nice. You can also see like photos from the campus and photos from project works, which has been really nice to be able to interact with different type of technologies across my program, which was the reason that I chose it.
Okay, you can just move on to the next slide that you sent in.
Yeah, and this is about my student life here at KTH here in Stockholm too. It has been pretty nice to meet with so many international people as well with Swedish people. I have had so many things, and I have done so many things that I've never like in my life thought. Like I learned how to play ice hockey, which was like a different experience for me because coming from the country that I came, ice is not like a regular thing over there.
Yeah.
Was
the winter a shock?
Yes, I've experienced like the cold weather before, but not like actually living through winter. But it was pretty fun at the beginning. We even like made snowmen and everything. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Yeah, it sounds like you had a fun year so far. So now let's look at the pictures that Christos has sent in.
So I also included some pictures of the main campus and the lecture halls. I think the main campus is a great place to study and meet your classmates.
Yeah.
And I also have a few pictures in the next slide from some projects, and some go better than others. So, but that's learning.
Yeah. These are from your courses, or?
Yeah, exactly. So some of them are image processing, others are deep learning projects that we had. So those weird looking pictures are actually like a style transfer thing. So trying to match, like make real pictures into cartoons, and it doesn't always work that well.
And
move on. Yeah, and then I included some pictures of Stockholm because I really believe it's a beautiful city. And this is those two pictures with the sunset are from my favorite viewing spot in one of the suburbs of Stockholm, or one of the boroughs of Stockholm.
Yeah.
And the final one is about the student life and going out with your friends and having coffee breaks and enjoying the culture and Sweden in general.
Nice. Looks great. Yes, now let's look at how you can apply to come and study here at KTH. So to study in our master programs, you have to fulfill our admission requirements. So there are two general requirements which all our programs require, which is basically that you need to have completed your bachelor's degree by the time you start your studies. I mean, you can be in your final year of studies of your bachelor's when you apply, but then you need to have completed it when you start your studies. We also require that you prove your English proficiency through one of the tests like TOEFL or IELTS, or you can also do that through certain previous studies, which you can see on our website. Then all these programs has a specific requirement. So yeah, depending on what you're interested in, you can go to our website, look at the program, and then you'll see the admission requirements and the program specific requirements under it. So this could be in terms of like certain courses that you should have taken in your bachelor's, or it could be that you need to have a special bachelor's degree and so forth. So moving on, there are non-EU, EA, and Swiss citizens are required to pay application fee as well as a tuition fee. So the application fee is around 900 Swedish crowns, and the tuition fee for most of our programs is 310,000 Swedish crowns for both the years put together. You can see the fees for your program on the website. We also offer certain scholarships. So the KTH scholarships are usually in the form of tuition fee waivers. So if you get that, you either do not pay the entire tuition fee or half of it, something like that. We also have scholarships offered by the Swedish Institute for citizens of certain nationalities. We also have certain external scholarships offered by certain institutes or national governments based on where you're from. So we have listed some of these under our website, so you can check that out if you're eligible for any of these scholarships. On our website, we have also listed the acceptance rate for the particular program from the previous year. So this basically gives you indication of how many of the eligible students who applied in the previous year were accepted to the program. This is especially useful because you can apply for up to 4 programs in one application. So if there are multiple programs that are of interest and say one program is extremely competitive, you can make sure that you can also apply to another program of your interest so that you can increase your chance of being accepted to KTH. So yeah, check this out under each program on the web. I mean, there are some new programs which are starting to be offered only in the coming year. For those programs, you will not find the acceptance rates because this is going to be the first intake, of course. Moving on. Yeah, now a summary of how to apply. So the application period is currently closed. It opens mid-October. By that time, you can go through the website. You can find out which other programs you are interested in applying. And when the period opens, you can choose your programs, up to 4 of them. Check the admission requirements and make sure that you collect all the documents you require to apply to that program. If there are some electives that you have to take in your final year, you also have time to do that, of course. Then you have to make your application on universityadmissions.sc by the 15th of January. So this is the website where all the programs have to be applied to for any university in Sweden. So you can do this by the 15th of January. We give you a couple of extra weeks to complete your application. So in case any document is missing by the 15th of January deadline, you also have to have completed your application fee for students from outside the EU or outside Switzerland by the 1st of February. And you can check the admission results by the 27th of March. So that's when the results come. So Christos and Sara, you have gone through this whole process, made your application, and now you're students here. Do you have any tips on how to apply for our viewers? Maybe Sara, you can start.
Yeah, so my application process started a little bit late, but I will totally recommend for you to apply early, just for you to feel safe. And also something that I would recommend is to ask as many as recommendation letters that you can, so you are not stressed with that situation.
Yeah. Christos?
Yeah, as Sara said, apply early, pay attention to detail, and also don't be afraid to ask questions. Like the KTH staff and the student ambassadors are really glad to help you with anything you need.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, just look at the application documents. So yeah, you probably need the certificates and diplomas of your completed degree. So if you're still in your final year of studies, you can submit a document that states that you will complete your degree before you start the studies. Usually your university can provide this document stating when you're expected to graduate. We also require a transcript of all the completed courses and the grades you have achieved up to the point when you submit the application. You also need the proof of English proficiency, as I mentioned earlier, either through tests or through previous education. And then a copy of your passport or an ID. So these 4 are required for almost all our programs. And then there are program-specific documents. So yeah, some programs might require your CV, letter of motivation, stating why you want to be admitted to the program. Some programs require a letter of recommendation, and this can be from an academic person, or if you have previous work experience from your previous employer. And then some programs also ask for a summary sheet, which is a form that you have to fill in with your details about your previous studies and other aspects. So yeah, just go through the programs that interest you and see what documents they require. And now you have plenty of time to prepare those documents before the application period opens in October. Now coming to what happens after studies. So KTH was ranked 70th in the world in the QS graduate employability rankings of 2022. So KTH is a very attractive, KTH degree is a very attractive proposition for many of the employers out there. So from LinkedIn, we see that many of the top employers that the KTH alumnus currently work in. So some of them are big multinational companies based in Stockholm. We also see that KTH is one of the top employers, and that is because a lot of our students go on to do a PhD or work as a research engineer and so on at KTH. We'll talk a bit more about PhD at KTH in one of the coming slides. We see from our career report that over half of our graduates actually had a job offer before graduating. For our international students, Sweden offers 1 year to stay in Sweden and apply for a job or a PhD position after graduation. So once your residence permit for studies expires, you can apply for this extension for 1 year during which you can apply for jobs and PhD position if you don't already land a job during your studies. We see that one of the most common ways that students get their first job is actually through their degree project or the master thesis that they'll do in their final semester of studies. And we also see that around 12% of our alumnus go on to start their own company. Christos, you just finished your degree project. What are your plans now?
So I'm actually going to work full-time during the summer at KTH as a research assistant. And then I am going to start working at the company where I did my degree project.
That's great. Congrats. Moving on. Like I mentioned, around 12% of international students go on to do doctoral studies or a PhD. So at KTH, PhD is 3 years of full-time research and 1 year of courses. Sometimes students do an additional year because they have some teaching assignments along with the research and courses. So it can go on between 4 to 5 years normally. And in Sweden, a PhD is an employment where you also receive a monthly salary and all the benefits you get of working, as well as benefits of being a student. So you have a win-win situation there. So anyway, moving on to our last slide. Here you can see some of the social media channels that KTH have, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, LinkedIn channels. So keep following us there, where you'll get updates when the application period opens and other interesting piece of information from our current students. You can also sign up for our newsletters. You can also, students from China can also follow us on Weibo and WeChat. Like Christos mentioned earlier, we have student ambassadors for almost all our master programs. Currently in the summer, it's only 4 or 5 programs that have ambassadors, but then from October, almost all our master programs will have a student ambassador connected to the program who you can ask questions to about studies at KTH, about application documents and so forth, and they can try to help you as much as they can. I mean, in some cases, they might direct you to contact KTH directly, but then it's a really good source for you. I was just curious, did you contact student ambassadors before you applied, Sara?
Yes, I did, and they were really helpful. It really helped me to clear my mind about the program and all the courses that I was going to take.
Great. Christos, similar for you?
Yeah, same for me.
Right.
Especially a lot of questions I had about Sweden and working here and things like that.
Okay, nice. All right, so that brings us to the end of the presentation. So let's have a look if we have received any questions sent in. So I'll try to answer that. Okay, let's start. We have got a few questions. Perhaps I can start with, are international students allowed to work while studying at KTH? Sara, could you answer that perhaps?
Yes. Well, in this case, you can come here to Sweden and you can totally work. I wouldn't recommend to work like full-time because of the studies, but you can definitely work a part-time. Right now, I'm working a part-time as a communications assistant in the international office of KTH, which has been really great. Of course, you have to do a lot of planning because of your courses and to manage everything properly. But it's totally possible to do.
All right, great. Okay, we have got a few questions about the language test. If you need to send in a language test, And yes, like most students need to send in a language test, IELTS, TOEFL, or in some cases, like I mentioned, previous studies could, if you studied in English, it might be valid for some countries. But what you can do is go to our website and check this out. Like, so there will be a link to university admissions where it will be specified for each country what documents you need to submit, like even for English requirement. Did you have to submit, Sara, when you applied?
Yes, I did. I had to submit my TOEFL assignment. Yeah.
Was it similar for you, Christos, from Greece?
Yes, but I submitted a Michigan ECP, if I remember correctly.
Okay, yeah. So there are different tests that we accept. So on the KTH admission requirements, you can see what all tests are accepted. Yes. Next question is, how many programs can you apply to at once? So you can apply to up to 4 programs, and you have to rank them in order of priority. Is that something you did? Did you apply to multiple programs, Christos?
Yes, actually, but it's been a while, so I don't remember which
Okay.
ones. But my program was my first choice.
Oh, great.
So-
That's nice. Sara, you too?
I actually just applied to this one,
Okay.
the one that I'm in. Yeah.
That's great. So yeah, like I said, you can apply to up to 4 programs. The all 4 doesn't have to be even to the same university. So you are when you apply to universityadmissions.sc, you apply to a national system where most of the Swedish universities are part of, and then you can choose programs even from other universities. So for example, it could be like 3 programs from KTH and 1 program from another university in Sweden. But then yeah, make sure to rank them in the order you want them, because if you are accepted to a higher choice priority program, then all the other programs get deleted. But if the other way around, if you are accepted to the second choice program, but then you're in the reserve of the first program, you can go up later on. So yeah, make sure to choose your priorities based on how you want them. Okay, there's a question for Christos. In machine learning, the student asked, how is the study time divided between on-campus, self-study, online courses? Do you think it's possible to continue working on the side?
You can definitely work on the side, although as Sara said, I would recommend to work part-time.
Yeah.
And for me, it's hard to say how it's divided now, because when I started studying, it was still we were still feeling the aftermaths of COVID. So I had more activities online, but for example, last year I had more activities on campus. So I would say that it's trending towards having more on-site lectures.
Okay, thank you. Next question is, does it matter when during the application period we apply? And I'll say no, it doesn't matter as long as you apply within the application period, which is mid-October to mid-January. And yeah, just to reduce stress, we do recommend to do it as early as possible, because there might be some documents that maybe require time for you to receive, and then we do not accept late applications because like most of our programs receive a lot of applications. So try to complete all your applications by the deadline. But then even if you apply one day before, it doesn't technically matter. But I would definitely recommend you to apply as early as possible. So maybe again for Sara, maybe someone asked how the Swedish winter was. I don't know if you want to like explain a bit more, like because I think you come from a warmer country, and maybe you can tell us how you prepared for it.
At the beginning it was like pretty fun. You get to do all the like new activities, and you get to see like the full blown of the snow and like everything. But of course you have to prepare like with clothing. You have to be sure that you have the right type of jackets, because if not, like if you will not want to go out. But I think here there are a lot of secondhand stores where they have like really nice clothing available. Also, they make this like Lopez that are like secondhand markets where you can also get really good clothes in that sense. And what I would recommend is to get a nice type of shoes. You don't have to have a lot, but at least one pair of good boots that would help you through the winter.
Okay, thanks, Sara. For Christos, The student asked, does the university provide any tips for non-fee paying international students looking for housing? How was your experience for finding housing in Stockholm, Christos?
So in my year, the students that weren't paying fees weren't offered housing from KTH. So you can, of course, look into the private market. I would suggest trying to look for a place with roommates, as I did in the beginning. And then there are housing queues that you can register as a student, and you can start collecting queue days, as they're called.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can get a student apartment fairly quickly, I would say.
All right.
But that's after you arrive in Sweden.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, you do get information from KTH accommodation, like with some tips.
Yes.
And you can actually already go to the KTH website and find this information. Like it's available throughout the year, actually. And yeah, another question. Did you apply for part-time jobs before arriving, or do you recommend that? I don't know if either of you have done this.
Yeah, so I actually applied for part-time job after I arrived. But I have friends who actually found the job before they even started studying. So they came to Sweden a bit earlier to start working, and then yeah. Sara,
you have anything to add?
Yeah, in my case, I applied for the part-time job once I was here. I was not able to apply before coming here, also because I think it's better if you come here and try to establish yourself first, in that sense, so you don't feel overwhelmed by everything when you come to a new country.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we'll take one last question. So a student asked, are there graduate research assistantship positions? Yeah, is there any tips, like any similar positions? Like, do you know if any of your programs, for example, offer any part like research assistantship kind of roles?
Yes, in a lot of divisions, especially if you're a machine learning student, you will find projects that are asking for part-time master students to help. So keep an eye for that.
Okay, so I guess it depends on the program that they're in. So it's not common in Sweden to offer assistantships, but yeah, like some programs, some divisions might offer these. So yeah, just keep an eye out on them. I think they're usually advertised on the KTH website as well. Like there's a jobs at KTH section on the website where these positions are usually advertised. So keep an eye out there. Okay, so that was the last question. My colleague tells me that there are also questions in the chat, which my colleagues are trying to answer. But then we can end the webinar part here. I want to just thank Christos and Sara for joining us today. Yeah, you can just sign off, and then we'll keep the webinar on so that our colleagues can answer the questions on the Q&A. So thanks, and I wish everyone a wonderful evening, or yeah, whatever time of the day that is where you're watching. Have a nice time, and bye-bye, and hope to see you at the next webinar. We'll have a series starting in October, so keep following us. Bye.